Hi there, welcome to the Gardens and Graveyards channel. My name is Charisma, and today we're meeting outside and we are going to plant a whole bunch of containers. So I have containers that I want to add to our front porch, containers I want to add to our back deck, and if we have time, some containers in the moon garden and a couple of containers, 4 containers, I think, by the greenhouse. Just like all the containers need to be planted. So that's what I'm working on today. And in addition to that, I need to hose down all the patios and decks, the cobwebs and the pine needles and all the things, just get everybody like fresh and ready for summer. So I'm starting here in the front porch just to show you what we're working with, and then we'll head out to the backyard into the greenhouse and I'll show you what plants we're going to be using in our containers today. So last night I had Spencer bring up my containers that I want to be using. I feel like I'm missing one. Oh no, it's right here. Okay. But what I want to do is flank each side of this porch with a round and a square, I think. I don't know. I'm playing with the ideas. But I definitely, I get some light in this corner, which means I'm going to move this crab rope out of the way and do a little decorative corner there. We have this extra wood that I'd like to move. And then none of this will be here. I need to clean this area up. And I want to move this wagon or whatever this thing is. Is it a wagon? What is it? It's a decorative wheelbarrow thing. I want to fix it and add it to the other end and have another plant grouping right here. And this side gets a lot of sun. But the rest of the deck is pretty shady, and I have had little plants up here in the past. I'm not going to do that this year. I just want these big containers up here. And right now these containers have a bay topiary in here, some heuchera, and maybe some leftover pansies. Yeah. And then these two were in front of the greenhouse, and they had ranunculus and daffodils in them, which they still do. I need to clean those out. And then this container has pansies from the fall, which are looking gorgeous. They've all fleshed back out. They look really sweet. And then also a ceanothus, which I think I'm just going to add a few Snapdragons to that. I don't know. I'm going to play with some ideas, but I have a few Snapdragons that I purchased right there because I wanted to make sure I had some yellow in the garden, Snapdragon-wise. Anyway, so it's just cleaning this area up, moving these pots around, and giving them a little facelift. Now let's head into the backyard and look at the pots that we're going to do back there and the plants that I have in the greenhouse for them. All right, now we are here on the back deck and in front of the greenhouse, and we'll look at what we have going on out here. So here on the back deck, I do have a little pot here that I think I want to maybe have a collection. I'm not sure. This gets pretty darn shady, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do there, but I would like to have something here. I mean, honestly, a water feature would be great. And then I've got just this cute little like trio. It's on a little plant stand deal here. We've had this poor little fuchsia has been in there for at least 2 years, maybe 3. It's got a weed in it. It's got creeping Jenny in it. So I want to take her out, put her somewhere else, and put in some geraniums and a new fuchsia. And then over here, I've got some pots that we've pulled up, just playing with some ideas. But certainly the square pot, the round pot, the square pot, and the round pot. And I'm just playing with some of these. I know this is not going to go there. I need to put this sedum somewhere. The amaranth is not going to go in there. I don't think it does need to go someplace. It's so hard. Definitely we're gonna put this pink cashmere Superbina is just in a nursery pot right now. So we're gonna transplant, and this is also a Superbina. I don't know which one it is, fuchsia or something. Those are gonna get put in one of these pots, and I've got Dahlias and Snapdragons that I'm gonna put out here. So we'll just cruise over here. If I have time, certainly I'm gonna pull the pink. I have some hot pink geraniums that came back, this one and the one over there, and those are gonna go up on that deck that we were just on. I have one white geranium that came back, and I want to get some new geraniums to replace in these pots. And then in this pot I'm gonna put some begonias. So that's what's going on there. And then in front of the greenhouse I moved these urns. This urn has a rose that I'm trying to grow as a rose standard. It's going slow and not fantastic, but just playing with it. But this one needs to be planted up, and I'd like to add a little color on to that one. And then we have these urns that have basket of golds, but I want to add some probably Snapdragons to the ones down below. So lots of little plantings to do. In the greenhouse I have all these Snapdragons, and in each one of these cups there's 2 Snapdragons. Okay, so I need to get them all out. I've got a few more Snapdragons over here, and like all of this is all Snapdragons. So I want to just get all of them out of the greenhouse someplace today. And then I have these adorable little tomato plants that I got free seeds from Baker Creek heirloom seeds. And these are tomato orange hat. And they only get 6 inches tall by 6 inches wide. So they're just little tiny cute shrubs. And the description says they get oodles of 1/4 inch tomatoes. So I'm really excited to grow them. And it's a good opportunity for me to figure out where tomatoes will grow in my garden now that we've moved things around. So I'm going to put like a little hedge of them in the front yard in the ground. I'm going to put some in containers on porches. I'm going to put some, I think, out here in a container, if I remember right. I'll have to look at the diagram. And then I've got these tomatoes in the greenhouse that need to be transplanted up into larger pots because I cannot keep them watered. And a couple of these are actually going to stay in the greenhouse because I know I can grow tomatoes in the greenhouse. So my hope is by the end of today, the only thing left in the greenhouse are the things that are going to live in the greenhouse. I also have these dahlias. Oh my god, they're getting munched on. Oh no! They were looking good like yesterday, day before yesterday I was looking at them. Oh no. Darn slugs. Well, anyways, I'm going to try to put some of these out into containers today. And then these begonias will go into the moon garden. And then all I'll have left are those impatiens to put in the shade garden down in the lower garden. So anyway, I'm doing my best to get everybody out of this greenhouse because it's getting too hot for them to be in there and stay healthy. So I really have no idea how far I'm going to get with any of these things, but what I want to do first is just get all of the pots placed where I want them, get all of the plants that I want in those pots next to the pots. Some of the pots need to get filled with soil. Some of them just need to be refreshed. So I just kind of need to organize and get them all ready for planting. And as soon as that is all like kind of done, we'll stop and I will I'll talk to you and walk through what my plans are, and then we'll get to planting, and then I'm gonna wash down everything. Sounds like a really big project. Am I up for it? I'll just take Mel Robbins' advice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I've removed all the old soil from these containers. I like to put some compost on the bottom of all my containers so that when the roots hit down below, they've got a little extra nutrition. So just a little bit down there, bottom of all the containers. May as well just make all my mess right here, right? So I'm just gonna separate this out a little bit as possible. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna put Biotone on the top of all of these containers, and then it'll just get worked in as I plant. So in the middle pot, I'm putting this little fuchsia. It gets, looks like it's pink and white maybe. Okay. And then in this one, because it's growing so squirrely, I'm actually going to cut it back. To just that one stem, and then we will add these guys back into the pot. So let's get this planted. Like so, and then we can just pop these right into the soil and they will grow for us. All these little pieces like this and this. I just cover this stem where it's cut, and those will grow roots. So I'm just gonna cover those up a little bit and leave the leaves on the surface, just like that. And that one's good. This one's nice and compact. I'm just gonna make sure that that soil. There's a little bit more soil around it. Okay. And then maybe this one as well. So I want the tomatoes in this square pot. So let's go ahead and do that. Just putting 3 of these little tomatoes together. The roots are coming out the bottom. These are not proven winter tomatoes. They're just seed tomatoes, and I use the proven winter container. Okay, here's that. And one more. Okay. Okay, very cute. Can get over there. Right. right, so pretty good. We've got super beanas in all three of these containers: hot pink, light pink, and we've got Snapdragons ringing these ones, Snapdragons ringing these ones, and those are all of our dark foliage Snapdragons left. So everything else is green. I believe there's no more dark ones in the greenhouse either. I did not put any Snapdragons in this. I put 3 dahlias on these 3 corners. I put the variegated vinca in between and the super beana and towards the back. And then in this little guy, I just put 3 of the little orange hat tomatoes. And then over here, we did the hot pink geraniums with the dark bullseye and a fresh fuchsia that's like light pink. And these will take a little less sun, which is perfect for this area. It doesn't get a lot of sun. This area is in full sun. Hard to tell today because it's an overcast day, which is great for planting, but you know, normally this is in full sun. So I think what I'm going to do now is pot up the baskets or the containers in the front porch, just to make sure I have enough soil, because those will hold more plants than just the one container that I need to fill completely with soil out here. So my goal is to get as many plants out of the greenhouse as possible. So I want to plant those up and get the tomatoes in the front yard, and we'll see where we are as far as supplies. I know I need to go buy some white geraniums for my back deck. So if I do that today, I'll include that in this video. Otherwise, it'll just get added into a different video. But I'm hoping to get all my containers done today. But I want to just like make all my messes, and then I'll come through and blow all the porches and everything off, and then wash down everything with a hose. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to grab the plants that we need for the front porch baskets or containers. I keep calling them baskets. Rearrange the front porch to my liking, and then we'll get to planting those. All right, I had to remove my sweatshirt. It is overcast but muggy and humid. If you can't tell by my crazy witch hair, there's no amount of product that's going to control the frizz when the weather is like this. So anyway, I think I'm just gonna start moving things around out here. I gave you an overview of what things look like right now, and I think I'm probably not going to leave the camera on because I really don't know where I'm going to end up, but I'll show you where I arrange everything before we get to planting, and then we'll grab our plants and bring them out here, because it kind of matters which pot goes where for me to determine which plant is getting put in those pots. So yeah, I'm just gonna move things around, and then I'll be back in a moment. Quick note, I saved these sunflower stalks from last year because I saw a Pinterest or an IG reel or something that showed people cutting these stalks and using them as stakes. And when I cut them, they were really hard, and they're still pretty hard. They're a little bit flexible, but what has happened is they're also hollow, and so they break super easy. Not great stakes, at least not in my climate. They got too moist. We kept them in the covered porch, thinking that they would at least not be rained on all winter, but cool thought, just doesn't work for me. So once I started moving things out of the way, I realized how gross everything was. So I'm actually just like working my way down the patio, washing everything down. It still needs to be power washed, but at least the like spider webs and pine needles and the like chunky mold and moss that's growing on the porch is getting knocked down, and it feels a little fresher until I get around to power washing, because I need to power wash the whole house, sidewalks, all the things. But I can't put off this project much longer because the plants are suffering, and I can always power wash on hot days during the summer, right? So I've washed things down here and my front door, and now I'm just gonna get this last section done, and it makes sense to have it all cleared out, washed down, and then move the containers over into a fresh, clean space. All right, while the ceiling drips and dries, I'm gonna go grab the plants that I know that I wanna come out here. I just don't know exactly where they're gonna go, but they can come out of the greenhouse and get placed over in this area while the ceiling drips. I have a gorilla cart full of fun things, and we're gonna start with planting the tomatoes out here, just to give the porch a couple more minutes to finish dripping. I'm not seeing any drips or hearing them anymore, so I think we're good. But I want to get those done, and then we'll hop up on the porch. Okay, how cute does that look? Little hedge of tomatoes that aren't even gonna get to the top of those raised beds. I think it's gonna be adorable. In these containers, I'm just putting a mix of Snapdragons and a single orange hat tomato in this pot. So, I always put a little compost at the bottom of my pot. Do that first. Raise that high mix. I'm using plant tone instead of biotone in these because there's established plants and they would benefit from plant tone more. All right, now I'm gonna plant these three. So I'm actually gonna plant right on top of the daffodils that are planted in these containers, as well as the ranunculus. I wasn't impressed with the ranunculus, so if they don't come back, I'm not worried about it. The Snapdragons don't need a whole lot of water, so my intention is that there won't be so much water in these containers that the dahlias or the daffodils won't come back. I'm also going to put a dahlia in each one of these square containers, so you know, we'll just see what happens with the daffodils. I don't want to have to take them out of these containers, so I'm just gonna clean off their foliage, which is super easy to do because it just comes right out like that. And the ranunculus is going to seed, I guess. It does have a little corum. These were the purple ranunculus that I liked, but it's like not very impressed with ranunculus this year. Maybe I'll set it to the side and make a decision later. Anyway, so easy as that. We're gonna put 7 snaps in this container and 2 dahlias, wherever they are. 2 of these sprouted dahlias. So there's not much to see, but we'll get 2 of them in there. The top, just grab the top 2. I have no idea what these dahlias are because when I took them out of the ground last fall, I threw them all in a big bin and I divided them, and I did not label one of them because I just figured whatever comes back, and this year my whole theme is mix it up. So all the colors in all the places, so I really don't care which dahlia is gonna be where. There might be a little bit of an issue as they grow because some of them are smaller than others, so it's just gonna be kind of something that we're playing with this year. But same deal with this, 7 snaps, 2 dahlias, and then in this bigger container here we have a ceanothus. It's in bloom. It's full of these pansies that have just been thriving, and our pansies pretty much bloom all year long if they look good like this. So I'll just cut them back as needed, and then I have 4 more snaps here and 1 more of the yellow that we just planted in the other container that matches, so that way at least there's a balance of at least 1 yellow snapdragon in here. These are all snapdragons that I grew from seed, and there's a rocket mix, and I think these are all the rocket mix as far as I know. So there's just like a whole bunch of colors. They're totally random as well. So who knows what these baskets are gonna, or these pots are gonna look like at the end of the summer. These ones aren't quite as dried out as the other ones. A little bit more effort. Not a 10, but a little more. This is another ranunculus. At this point, they have yellowed enough to come back next year, so I'm not going to wait any longer. Okay, so we're just gonna divide. These are clearly 2 different kinds because you can see how fat and thick those leaves are, and these are a little bit thinner. This one, oh, see, tall assorted mix. So we're just gonna divide these up. 3, 4, 5. these are the rocket mix. So 1 and 2, I think. So, plant tone. So these dahlias, they've been pre-sprouted, then they got munched on a little bit, but they've got roots here, they've got roots here, clearly a body, a neck, and a sprout. And so I'm just gonna put it under the ground about 2 inches, or under the soil about 2 inches. And you do put them in sideways like this so that the sprout's going up. I'm just finding a couple little pockets for these snapdragons in among the pansies. All right, I'm gonna get all of these watered in, and we'll move back into the backyard and get the pots in front of the greenhouse planted up. And then I think we're gonna call it, because I need to go find more plants for the moon garden, and but that's gonna get all of our tomatoes out, all of our snapdragons out that need to get out of the greenhouse. So that is gonna be absolutely wonderful. And then I need to wash off my back deck. So there's that. So let's go ahead and clean this all up, water these guys in, and head into the backyard. All right, so all we have are these 2 pots and these 2 little pots down there. And yeah, that should be pretty easy. We're just gonna fill the pots with compost, soil, plant tone, and then we'll get to planting. I just have 3 more snaps, and I'm gonna put them in this raised bed right here. All right, 1, 2, and 3. It's amazing how long all these little tiny projects take. I'm not going to wash down my whole deck because I'm out of time for today. I have other obligations to take care of. I've been out here for like 3.5 hours between washing down the porch and potting. Let's see, we did 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 containers and 10 tomato plants. So, I mean, it's a lot. And I got what my ultimate goal was for the day, which is to get all the Snapdragons out of that greenhouse and as many tomatoes as I wanted out of the greenhouse. So I left a few in there that I want to grow in there, but everything else is out of the greenhouse, which is amazing. All right, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna just take a little walk around and talk about what we did get done today. Let's just go ahead and start where we began. I ended up not using this container. I really do want some sort of, I don't know, decorative something right here. But these containers got taken care of. So we have 2 hot pink geraniums and a pink fuchsia there, and they'll do great in the shade. And right behind them, you can see our raised bed with impatiens and hostas and coleus. So all very fun, bright colors in the shade this year. And then I've got our pots up here that take a little bit more sun, and these are calibrachoas or super bells, and they get a little bit more sun and then it goes to shade. Then we potted up these 4 pots. So in this container we just did 3 of the orange hat tomatoes, and so they're 6 inches each, so they'll just fill this pot up with a nice and tidy tomato shrub, basically. And then in this container I put in the Superbena, I think it's fuchsia, it's a hot pink one, and then ringed it every other Snapdragon with a dark foliage and a light foliage, dark foliage, etc. And then we added in a few of the Creeping Jenny starts that I had. And then over on this side, we have this one matches, same container, same plant scheme. This is the color in these ones. So as soon as they start popping, they'll be super fun on both sides here. And then this one is the Superbena Pink Cashmere, which has this beautiful baby pink color. We put in 3 dahlias in the corners there. And then we added a couple of these variegated vinca starts that I had. And then we removed these, fuchsias, which has this gorgeous flower. And I'm actually going to put this in my moon garden. I need to put some soil around the bottom until I get over to the moon garden, which hopefully I'll get to this afternoon, but I don't know. And then I added the last 3 Snapdragons that we had left into this container. This container has lupin in it. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, they're so pretty. These are lupin that I started from seed, so they're various stages. All right, then right here we did 2 containers that match, and they are just 1 orange hat tomato and ringed by 4 Snapdragons, and they're the same. And then up on this area in these containers, I did, I think this one has 7 Snapdragons and a dahlia in the center, and then I want to get another super tunia to put in the front to give it some instant color. And this one, it only has 5 Snapdragons, but it also has a zinnia in here that I tried growing in here. I had 3, but only this one is alive. And then this is the Super Tunia Tiara Pink. So, and then I have this rose that I'm attempting to grow as a standard, but it has, I found a little green worm on it. So now that I've seen that, I know what to look for, and I know what to try to treat it for, because they're basically doing this to the leaves. They're just becoming like a skeleton leaf. All right, so then what's left in the greenhouse are just these 4 tomatoes that I want them to live in this greenhouse. And then these tomatoes, which are gonna live in the greenhouse. And then I have some succulents over there that are gonna get potted up. And I emptied the sprouted dahlias, and now I just have a mess on the floor to take care of. Those will go out in the moon garden. So this is the only annual bit that needs to come out of the greenhouse now, which is great. It's basically 2 projects. 1 downstairs, 1 in the moon garden. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the front porch and then end the video. Okay, so here on the front porch, we did these 3. They've got 7 Snapdragons and 2 dahlias in the middle. And then this has the ceanothus with all the pansies, and there's 3 Snapdragons in those. Of course, we cleaned all this up. And then down here, we have my bay topiary with a couple of heuchera starts and 4 Snapdragons. And then in this little container, we just have 1 single tomato orange hat. And then I have this little cute thing, but it needs to be fixed. The spindle has swollen and pushed away, so they need to be re-glued. And then what I really love to do is paint this year with something cute. Design on it, I don't know what, but sand it down, paint it. But I thought this was a cute little, maybe a little collection for now. Just gives it a little charm. All right, then the last thing that I did do is the little tomatoes. And you know I showed them to you already, but oh, they're just so stinking cute. So they're right out here in this little hedge. They're gonna be so sweet. And then once we get irrigation going on these pots, we'll just go ahead and pop a line down right here too, so that we can make sure that they get plenty of water. All right, that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you're celebrating your life. I appreciate you watching and hanging out with me while I garden today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.